today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
After another little schedule push, sometimes it just has to happen. I'm back recapping 705 with our friend Kristen, who's filling in for Carrie this week. She was with us in September when we talked about ECC2. Welcome back, Kristen.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk about season 7 with you because I think we were talking about it before we started. Like you've like recently caught up and like caught up on everything. So what are you thinking about it? Like who do you like? Who do you not like? Like any storylines you're liking or don't like or anything like that?
Yeah. So yes, I binged like the first 4 episodes last week, and then I got caught up with the most recent one yesterday. So
Yeah.
um it was a lot to take in for a binge. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. So many things happened in the first 4 episodes. Like Rookie is one of those shows where you can't like go and get popcorn or something while it's
No.
airing. You have to like pause it,
Yeah.
get popcorn, and then continue. So
Yeah.
there's a lot that happens.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's a very interesting season because I think like you and Brenna were talking last week about it took forever for us to get to the Bailey stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're finally here. And there's some things that I'm just like, Bailey, why are you doing this? Like,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
know better.
Yeah.
In your profession, like you don't get a burner phone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah. Let's see. And Chenford is very interesting right now.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting dynamic. Because they're very good supporting each other in this and Lucy's new TO role
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And he's not treating her like a rookie anymore. Like she
No.
is his like equal now. So
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really interesting in this episode because he was kind of like, "Hey, I believe you. Whatever you want to do, let's do that." Like,
Right.
he's not trying to sway her. Like he's
Mm-mm.
kind of letting her take the lead, which some could argue that's like he knows that like she shouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
do that
Right.
or whatever, but also like he has to let her learn and has to let her do that. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
absolutely.
all very interesting. I think this is kind of I don't know. I'm almost questioning this season as far as like, okay, so where are we going with all of this? Because like the Jason and Bailey stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it's wrapped up after this episode, I guess, with the whole Jason thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It
like,
was
I don't know, it was an
I don't know.
unsatisfying ending to me. I was like, okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
We brought all this back and like drug it out for a couple of episodes, which I get. Jenna was pregnant and like, they had to
Right.
accommodate for that. But it was just
Right.
kind of odd. And then the
Mm-hmm.
wrap up, I was like, that's it. So
Right.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there's gonna be more. There's still gonna be Finding Malvado and stuff, but I'm just kind of like,
Right.
where does this take us? So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Um, what about the new rookies? How do you like, are you favoring one over the other? Do you like both of them or
Mm,
no?
um honestly, they're being very rookie-ish. They're
Yeah.
getting on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
Um like especially with Seth and the half truths or lies or whatever. It's just it I was just thinking there was one point where we'll get to it probably, but
Yeah.
where Chen and Tim are in like the break room talking about Seth, and then Tim leaves and Seth kind of just barges in,
Yeah.
and you get this vibe that Lucy is just over it. She's
Yeah.
like, "What? What now?" Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so they're both very interesting storylines though, because you would never think of a cop as like tells half truths type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then just having the other one, which I can't remember his name right now.
Miles. Miles
Miles,
Fenn.
thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, he is a very interesting character too, just because like he's homeless, and you're like,
Mhm.
well, wait, what? Like,
Yeah.
and then I still want to know more about this girlfriend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't it's it's interesting to see the rookie personalities this time around. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like we had this with Selena and with Aaron a little bit too of like, well, they're messing up so much. And it's like, well, yeah, they're
They're
rookies.
supposed
Like
to.
they're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, like, should Seth be telling all of these half truths? No. I
No.
mean, he knew that when he went into the academy,
Right.
but it's obviously something that he can't let go of. So,
Yeah.
like, how do they work past that? That'll be really interesting to see. And as
Mm-hmm.
far as like Miles, like, I think it's more so he's just having to learn like a whole new system,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Um, but he was better, but like we didn't really see them a lot this episode. So
That's
it's hard
true.
to say. And I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if next episode we'll see them a lot because they're not in a lot of the promo photos, and we
Mm.
know that the Valentine's Gala is next episode. So
Yes. Very
yeah.
excited.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know the promo photos are good. They're good. So
Yes.
yeah. But with that, we'll just get right into the episode. There was some news. So, the episode description for 707 dropped, and it's called the Mickey. So, on Selena's last day as a rookie, John gives her one final test. Meanwhile, Bailey makes a new friend, and Lucy places her faith in Seth for an undercover assignment. And this one airs in like on the 18th, so in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know what Lucy's gonna do about Seth with this one. I'm nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I am too. I something must happen in this episode and the next episode to like regain that trust, because I
yeah.
don't think that she fully trusts him right now.
No. That or she's walking on like eggshells and she's just kind of like, I'm just gonna put you in these situations and see what you do. You know,
Right.
like you are
Yeah.
still a rookie and I'm still here,
Mm-hmm.
but also if you're going undercover, you need to have a lot of trust built up,
Yeah.
especially for her because she's went undercover, quite a number of times, but like it's not like she's trained to go undercover all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. And Selena's last day as a rookie, I'm excited to see that. I feel like it's been a long time coming.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very excited for that.
I'm curious to see what this one final test will be because John's been better about being her TO this season. Like, I
Yeah.
think better than last season because last season
Absolutely.
she was screwing up, but it was also like, well, he's the one that's like at fault with this, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's been better, but I
Yeah.
don't know. He's got a lot going on in his head, so who
Right.
knows? Who knows? So, so then also starting on the 18th, the rookie's gonna switch back to the 8 p.m. Eastern or the 9 p.m. Eastern time slot, so 8 p.m. Central time because of high potential season ending. So that's cool. Because
Yay.
I feel like by 9 p.m. Central time, I'm like, all right, can we like speed it up here? But
Sure. Yeah.
yeah. So, and then it's been like stated on the internet that there's a State of the Union for US viewers airing on March 4th. So obviously there's probably not going to be a new episode, but like we'll have a break in there. So I bet
Mm-hmm.
that'll be like our mid-season finale type of thing. Like
Yeah.
that'll be the good break. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Um, do you want to take us through the TV Insider interview with Makia?
Sure. Okay. Makia on Nyla's monologue at the end. As actors, monologues don't happen often. She remembers doing it and just looking into his eyes. She was completely Harper in that moment. Ooh,
Yeah.
how cool.
I watched the after show video of her like talking about it, and it was really cool to just like see her kind of dive more into the behind the scenes and like what all went into it and kind of her thoughts on it. So
Yeah,
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 they've been doing
definitely.
those after shows quite a bit this season.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nathan was one, Eric, now Makia. It's cool to see like the actors take on it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Um, Makia on the Harper and James of it all, how much did she mean the getting married too fast thing?
Mhm.
Um, Makia thinks Nyla reacts, and she reacts harshly sometimes, but it's definitely a reaction to the conflict. Um, she's questioning everything in that moment, and she's frustrated and knows he's frustrated as well. Yeah, when I watched that, I was like, oh no, like I was on
Yeah.
pins and needles. I was like, no,
Yeah.
because I love them together, and it's but I think that's legit in every marriage that you have this moment
Yeah.
of like, hey, wait a second. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I wasn't too worried about it because I know that they are not ones to um shy away from difficult questions
Yeah.
too. So yeah.
Well, and like with their jobs too, like I was a little worried just because, I mean, their jobs are tough. Like they are going to take
Mm-hmm.
home the stress of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, yeah, they did get married so fast. So it's
They
kind of
did.
like, did they really talk about things or
Mm-hmm.
like what? So, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think she was reacting to it, but I don't know. The Valentine's Day episode and relationships coming to a head. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they're all kind of like on shaky ground, I feel like. Like even
They are.
Bailey and Nolan after all this, like they're definitely on shaky ground. So,
Yes.
I mean, Lopez is in a way. Angela doesn't really know it, but Wesley is because of all the
Right.
tapes. So it's
Right.
kind of like any of them could like have issues.
Yes.
And
Yep.
then, yeah, I don't know. With Jenny Bradford coming back in, who knows how that's gonna go. So,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. There was also a TV Line article with Makia. She did a lot of the press this week, and TV Line asked, will Nyla regret poking the bear as much as she did with putting Glasser on notice outside of his van? And Makia said she doesn't think so. Nyla's very calculated and knowing what she's doing. She's doing these things on purpose because she doesn't want more victims, so she's doing it to like scare him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I thought that scene and the interrogation room scene were so badass. I was like, man, the
Yeah.
camera angles are
Ooh.
good. Their expressions, like the
Mm-hmm.
dialogue, I was like, wow, this is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. They
And
were definitely playing a game.
yeah,
They
and
were going
Seth
back and forth.
Gable plays a creepy guy so well.
He
So well.
does.
I've never watched him
Yes.
in anything, but
Mm-mm.
Carrie said he's from Big Sky. So I was like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. He was good though.
I did notice in that whole scene. Well, no, not in the whole scene, but when at the end when she or when he asks Nyla if she sleeps at night, she
Yeah.
does not blink when she answers. She just
Oh.
stares right at him and says, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Body language says a lot. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It was very, very Nyla Harper.
Yeah. Well, and then when he was like, "Do you have kids?" and she just looks at him and she's like turns away like, "Yeah, I wouldn't be telling him anything
Mm-mm.
because
She
this
knows
man
better.
is creepy."
Right.
So, yeah. Um, TV Line also asked, how would you describe the Harper Glasser dynamic moving forward? Is he basically her Joker? And Makia said, yes,
Mm.
very much so. He's constantly on her mind and she's focused on getting him. She's not going to feel comfortable until she does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
yeah. Um, and then TV Line also has asked, like, Alexi warned of conflict for Nyla and James in season 7. Is she forthcoming with James about this new case and how dangerous it is? And Makia said no, not really. She's never really open with James about how dangerous things are because then he'd worry about her and she doesn't want that. She does her best to keep a lot away from him just because she doesn't want him to get scared. Which I feel like is fair.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also if you're hunting a serial killer and you think that he's possibly the one who attacked you, you might want to say something.
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
you
Yeah. Be like,
might.
hey,
Yeah.
maybe we get extra security because we have a
Yeah.
baby. Like,
Yeah. Well, and the baby's already been kidnapped once out of the crib by
right.
those masked guys. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And she was
I
badass then. She's going to be
yeah.
badass now. So,
Yeah. Well, even like her labor when she had the baby.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think you should probably tell him. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I think you probably should. Not that he could do a whole lot, but he could
Right.
at least just be aware, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, James works at the community center. Like, not to put this out there, but like, what if Glasser services a vending machine in there? You know, like you just never
Oh,
know.
interesting
So,
theory.
yeah. Um, yeah, it was, I don't know. He's creepy, but like I get why Nyla doesn't share that with James, but then at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, maybe you should.
Yes.
So,
Agreed.
yeah. And then TV Line asks one more question of as Nyla tries to get the goods on Glass, or will he manage to claim another victim or more? And Makia said, for a little while, he's on pause, but that's all she could say. Which,
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I would hope that he would kind of lay off, but I highly doubt it because they need drama.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Do you want to take us through the Us Weekly interview?
Sure. Okay. So there's more hurdles ahead for Nyla, and it's been a long time since she's been this fragile, which is interesting because you never think of Nyla and fragile being the same
No.
thing. Um, she's never been this scared after a case, which has caused her to become even more invested in the outcome. It's not the last we'll see of Glasser, and it's going to be really hard for her to focus on other cases while he's free. Um, when she gets focused on something, she gets laser focused, and he's always going to be in the back of her mind until he's caught. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The pressure is going to seep into her personal life, and her hyper focus on these sort of things tend to alienate others around her sometimes.
Which I
Oscar
wonder
will.
if that alludes to the James stuff too.
Mm,
Like, is she gonna like pull away from James a little bit? Because I feel like that's already coming, whether this case is a thing or not.
yeah, that's a good point.
So,
Right.
yeah,
Oscar will return later in the season. He's still very much the
on the lamb.
on the lam. Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
He is a career criminal who's helped the LAPD solve crimes when it suits him, but he's still a bad guy. He's been in the position before where he's helped them, but this is not the position he's in now.
I wonder one, when he'll come back, and two, how they'll bring him back. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if he's not in the position to help them, then what's up? You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Because Oscar
Oh.
is a good villain, or like a good, not a good villain, but like we like seeing him. And like he's
Yes.
always been in the Rookie. So like let's keep
Right.
him around, but also at the same time, like how? How are we gonna do this?
Yeah. I don't
Maybe he
know.
comes back like because he hears that Jason's gone or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
So
It never ceases to amaze me how the rookie like ties things together.
yeah,
There are some things that I'm like, I would have never put that together. Like,
yeah, yeah.
so I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that they just,
Like just kind of finagle. And
yeah, right.
I forget if we found out where Oscar was going when he escaped prison. Like we know Jason was going to LA,
Yeah,
but I forget if we found out where Oscar was going. So maybe that's where that comes back in. I don't
maybe.
know.
I don't know either.
I don't know, but I feel like it's just like one villain after another. Because like Seth could very
Mm-hmm.
well be one, and not like a killer-y
Mm.
way, but like maybe, who knows? So yeah, I feel like it's just been like one kind of protagonist or like, bad
Mm-hmm.
character after another. So
Right.
yeah. We'll go ahead and get into the episode now. So we will start off with Nyla and the attack aftermath because as much as this, and I saw this kind of discourse like online, I think,
Mm-hmm.
as much of this episode was like about the Bailey and Jason of it all, like getting him finally, like it was like their big
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Right.
The attack was brought in and like kind of followed through after the last episode, which
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we like the sequence, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I feel like there were two kind of big conflicting storylines that were fighting for
Yeah.
attention, and then like
Yeah.
the one that we were supposed to be focusing on just kind of flopped a little bit. Like,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Which
Hmm.
I get that this is setting up for another arc, but yeah, I feel like
Right.
the Bailey and Jason stuff, it was just kind of like, okay, well, we made a point to bring him back and
Right.
for him to escape prison with Oscar. So can we like wrap it up a little bit better? I don't know. I mean, it was drawn
Yeah.
out to begin with. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So we see Nyla recapping the events of her attack in the elevator. And as she like gets out, she's instantly met with Lopez waiting for her. And they have news that Remy Darden succumbed to his injuries. So he's gone and Nyla's only living witness. But she doesn't have much to go off in terms of description. Because her back was to him, it was dark, like, there was a whole kind of reason why. So
Mhm.
Brendan and Antoinette are in the roll call room, and he tells Antoinette that like he brought her some fresh clothes and there's appropriate shoes to match it. It was just a cute little moment between them,
Yeah.
and
That was
I
cute.
loved just having it because it's like another little reminder that they're still together. So
Yeah.
yeah. So Nyla and Lopez meet up with Brendan and Antoinette, and she didn't have a problem with the lack of DNA, but actually too much DNA. And Antoinette says that the attacker collected medical waste like latex gloves, sharps, scarred
Mhm.
bandages, and used it as a way to corrupt everything he touched. So Wesley, I loved him in this moment, and then I was also like, dude, wrong time to say that.
Yes.
I
Oh my
was
gosh.
like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have said that. Especially as the DA, like prosecutor. Yeah, you probably shouldn't
Yeah.
have.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. But he was
Mm-mm.
like, it's kind of brilliant. And then he's like, in a pure evil way, of course. Because he gets daggers from his wife and Nyla. And I'm like, yeah, I
Yes.
would too. I mean, why
Absolutely.
are you
Yeah.
saying that? Like,
Not
that's kind of
now.
weird. Yeah. But Leslie's like, even if we can get a CNA, any reasonable DA will be able to prove reasonable doubt. So
Hmm.
that's kind of a good thing. But Antoinette also shares that the autopsy report shows that all but one of the victims was infected with a variety of bloodborne illnesses before he strangled them to death from the used syringes. So Nyla's freaked out a little bit because she's like, there, I could be infected with something. But
Yeah.
Antoinette reassures her pretty quickly and says that they found the needle that was used on her. But Antoinette says that she would say it was clean, but there was nothing communicable in it.
Hmm.
And Angela reassures Nyla that regular testing will be done for the next 6 months. But if nothing was found, she should be fine. Which I pointed this out last episode, they wouldn't have showed all those needles and her falling into them if it wasn't going to be a thing.
Right.
So I feel
Yeah.
like it is going to be a thing, especially if she's not telling James and then like this is going to alienate her. Like, I don't want anything to happen with James
Mm.
and Nyla.
No. No. We
I don't
love
even
them.
think I want some angst. Like, at this point,
No.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
But like, why are we doing all of this? I
Hmm.
don't know. I don't know.
I feel like Nyla and James have been through enough already this season with the whole
Yeah.
just the going back and forth with the community center and the police and
Yeah.
all that stuff, and it's just I like really.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope that like he can become a little bit more understanding, like especially if it's
Hmm.
her dealing with all of this and like, she's not sure if she's got an illness or whatever from it. But I also can see him being like, and this is why you shouldn't be doing this job. Like, this is dangerous. Like, I can
Mm-hmm.
kind of see him like kind of show like pointing out ways where she should not
Yeah.
be in this position.
Sure.
Um, which yeah, I don't know, because I feel like that's how it was with Donovan a little bit, like she
Yeah.
she went off and then like lost her daughter and then she came back for her daughter
Right.
and we haven't really seen that. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's gonna be something. Um
Hmm.
but Brendan shares some good news and he says most of the medical waste was generic, found in every hospital and doctor's office around the state, which doesn't really help them. But
No.
there's 4 syringes that are trial design only used at St. Stephen's Hospital. So like at least they have something to go off of.
Right.
So Miles and Penn are talking to Luna about the medical waste disposal, and she tells him about the incinerator and who has access to it. She brings up Ryan Dearborn, who was a patient found wandering around the basement with a medical bag, who at the time claimed he was lost and couldn't explain the bag. So Miles like brings out the Southern charm, like it's another little rookie moment
Ugh.
for him. And Luna tries to set him up with her niece. And at first I was like, oh, she's going to set him up with Dominique, their
Hmm.
daughter. And I
Hmm.
was kind of expecting that that's where it would go. And then she brought up a niece, and I was like, who's this niece? Like,
Right.
you have a
Yeah.
daughter. I mean, I don't know, maybe not, but I was kind of like, okay, that's weird. And
Yeah.
then Tim brings up the long distance relationship, and he's like, he'll be single soon. And I don't know, Tim, he seems a little bitter about it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonder why, because the girl that ghosted him is randomly back living with his ex. So
And
yeah,
why is she here?
I don't know.
I don't
That was
know.
Brenna and I's question too. We're like,
Mm.
why bring her back? I could
Yeah.
see if it was like 2 seasons ago
Sure.
or whatever, and like Chenford had just gotten together, but like now,
It does
why?
seem random.
It's weird. It's weird. And I'm still not over the way that Rachel just showed up after ghosting Lucy too and was just like, can I stay on your couch? Like, no.
Yes.
I don't know. It was
Yeah.
weird. It was very
Mm-hmm.
weird.
That
I
is
feel like
weird.
this is the season of just like weird things happening for sure.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's just so many weird things. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But then, like, as Tim walks away, Luna's like, Rachel ghosted him. That's why he's like so bitter
Yeah.
about long distance relationships. And Miles is like, oh, it's like,
Oh.
yeah. There is a lot of lore there that you don't know. Yeah, Miles.
Right.
Like, I don't,
Right.
you and Seth definitely do not know that your TOs have previously dated and share a dog and,
That's
have all
right.
this. Like, I highly doubt that they do.
Hmm.
But when they find out, that will be great because then I'm wondering if Seth will say something and be like, and you didn't think to tell me that or something. Like I can kind of
Right.
see him like,
Right.
pulling that one. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Or I hope it's something like all four of them are in like some sort of scene together and it just kind of slips out and they're
Yeah.
like, hey, wait a second, what?
Yeah. 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 Because that's how it's been a lot lately, is like
Hmm.
it's the four of them. And that's where I feel like we've gotten lucky with some little Chenford scenes and bits here and there and with the
Yeah.
vet. But yeah, I mean, if that's the way that we're gonna see Chenford together is with all their rookies together, hey, fine by
Hmm.
me, sign me up.
Right.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Chenford
yeah,
all the way.
yeah. So John and Selena are pulling up to Ryan Dearborn's address, and he's been a repeat patient at Westview Psychiatric Hospital since he was a teen. So he's got that connection with Harrison Novak. And his most recent stint was 16 months ago. She starts listing off a couple of mental illnesses that he has: schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, um, along with a drug addiction. And he could have crossed paths with Harrison. There's a 2-month overlap during their teenage years. And I liked how John did this. Before they even went in, he was like, how do you think we should enter? And
Hmm.
she, kind of goes through a couple of different things. And so she suggests calling him on the phone.
Hmm.
And they get him, but he doesn't sound well.
No.
And so John calls for backup and they slowly
Hmm.
walk up to the mobile home. And John's like, I'm going inside. Selena waits outside. And there's nothing inside or out. But then Selena like hears some whimpering coming from under the mobile home. And so
Hmm.
John finds a hatch, opens it, and like reveals Ryan, who's like shirtless and holding a bag of needles. And he looks so just unwell. Like his eyes,
Yes.
like it reminded me of Remy, who,
Hmm.
Angela and Nyla found. Like just the way that
Yeah.
his face looked and like just everything. I was like, oh my gosh, this poor
Right.
kid is just
Yeah.
not doing well.
No. Shaking,
Yeah.
sweating, just unwell.
Yeah. So they have Ryan in the interrogation room, and it's clear that he is mentally ill and just he's not totally there. And John tells them what they found out. Nyla's like, I feel like he's the wrong guy. He just seems energized, and the killer thereafter is calm, fastidious, careful, and dangerously smart. And so Angela and Brendan talk to him, and he's like, I want to go to my happy place, and crawls under the table. after saying he was down below the underneath 2 nights ago. And I like how Nyla like was approaching this. She was like, "Do you mean a basement?" And then like when he
Right.
crawled under the table, Brendan and Angela were like, "We're not gonna do anything to freak him out, but this is weird, and we're gonna
Right.
clock this right now."
Yeah.
So um, so then Lucy, like later on in the episode, was going through Antoinette's autopsy reports. She finds the name of the first victim, Grant Nagales, who wasn't affected with any illness. So he's that anyone but, or all but one victim.
Hmm.
And so she went into Grant's missing persons file report and found that Liam Glasser was interviewed because he was a former employer. Um, and so Glasser was never a suspect, but he's a vending machine supplier that services facilities across LA, including Westview Psychiatric. And there's no connection to St. Stephen yet.
Hmm.
So Grace suggests Nyla putting eyes on him and seeing if she remembers him. And she's like, I don't want him to know he's a suspect. And Lucy's like, I have an idea. All it took was for Lucy to like go into that file and look. Like
Right.
everyone else was working on it, and Lucy's like, here, I'll just do it. Like Lucy deserves more recognition
She
than what she
does.
gets. Because, like, that
Hmm.
was some pretty amazing stuff right there.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
She does a lot of
Um,
hard work.
yeah. And then also deals with a rookie who is shady
So
AF. So she deserves
true.
a
So
promotion
true. She
to
does.
anything.
Hmm.
So Smitty then enters because who else? I mean,
Right.
at this station, who else to get besides Smitty?
Right.
So he gets Glasser to like service all of the LAPD scenes. He's like, I can like work it out with the rest of the,
Hmm.
stations and all that. And I'm sure that he could. Like, I don't even put that past him. I'm sure
Right.
that he could. Like, for a minute, I was like, is he union rep? And then I was like, no, that's
Nope.
John.
It's
Because I
John.
feel like that would be a John thing. But if
Hmm.
anyone could do it, it would be Smitty.
Right.
So,
Yep.
so Smitty and him are talking about the snacks and like exotic ones, and Nyla comes in and she tells Smitty that Gray's looking for him. And I wonder, I mean, I'm sure that he was, but I'm like, was
Hmm.
Smitty in on all of this? Or was he just like going along with it?
I think I think he was in on all of it. I think probably our girl Lucy told him everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was in on like them thinking that he's the serial killer, but I feel like he
Uh,
was probably in on like them saying, "Hey, Nyla's gonna come and get you for Gray to talk to you.
that's a good point.
We need you to leave," because like
Right.
I feel like Smitty is smarter than he looks and like than we give
Absolutely.
him credit for. Like
Yeah.
they could have told him about the serial killer, but
Sure.
I don't think that they needed to tell him that. I don't
Yeah.
know. Because then even at the
Hmm.
end when Nyla's like, I just want to talk to you again, your stuff will be fine out here with Smitty. I'm like, he had to have known because,
Yes.
he was with the guy. So,
Right.
um, yeah, so Glasser immediately turns on the charm after Smitty leaves, and Nyla's kind of like inching her way out, but then not really. And so
Hmm.
Glasser's looking through the glass of the vending machine, sees Nyla. She tells him briefly about the case and how there's a connection to Westview. And he's like, no way, I service it. And he says that the vending company is a SADS. He started working for him in high school, and he's at Westview about 3 to 4 times a month, saying that the food there is terrible and the staff and patients basically live off of the machines. And so she suggests talking to someone with institutional knowledge and it would be helpful as like details of the case date back to more than a decade ago. So, after they talk, Nyla goes into Gray and who's watching Dearborn's interrogation, and
Hmm.
she's like, Glasser's the guy, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And Gray's like, well, Dearborn's confessing right now. So,
Right.
and we hear pieces of it, and it does sound accurate.
Right.
And I mean, he even knows who Remy was, or at least
Hmm.
slightly knows.
Yeah.
And it was a slam dunk confession. He did leave a lot of holes, but like it's details only the killer could know, or someone
Hmm.
who's helping him. So Nyla is still convinced that Glasser is the guy. He recognized her, couldn't stop staring at her wounds. I was kind of waiting for him to ask her, like, how did you get that on your head? Or, like
Yeah.
just to kind of throw her off of
Mm.
her questioning a little bit
Yeah.
and to kind of see how she would handle it. So I wonder if
Hmm.
like he'll say that in the next, episode or whatever. So,
Hmm.
she just wants everyone to put eyes on him, check her math, as she says, while she talks to him. So Wesley agrees with it. He's like, last thing I want to do is charge the wrong guy or leave an
Right.
accomplice out there.
Yep.
So Glasser is on his way out, and Smitty catches up to him, trying to get him to stay. Um, and Nyla like takes him into the interrogation room. He doesn't sit down, just like strolls around the room. And right away I was like, you're it. You're the
Right.
guy.
Right.
Because like that's creepy. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know that there's people that do that because they don't want to like show that they're just gonna like, I don't know, submit to, the other person or whatever. Like they want to
Yeah.
assert their dominance. But
Right.
I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's weird. I don't know.
Yes.
And he's like
Right.
walking around, like looks into the window, and I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, you're so shady. So
Yeah.
shady. So she
And
asks
it's
if he
very
has,
dark in that room. So I
yes.
was like, woo,
Yeah,
what's going
the
on?
lighting, the camera angles, the music. I was like, oh my God. I'm like
Yeah.
on the edge of my seat right now. This is
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Ah.
Um, and so she asks if he has any interactions with the patients, and he's like, no, and I don't know Ryan Dearborn. And so like Angela, Gray, Wesley, and Brendan are all sitting on the other side, and Wesley's like, he's really like playing into the casual like attitude
Mm-hmm.
right now. And Angela says if he's the guy, he's rocking a world class ego, and it'll make him overconfident. Like even
Mm-hmm.
they're like, yeah, this is the guy. Like Dearborn's
Right.
involved, but this is the guy. And so Glasser, yeah, puts his face up to the interrogation room, and I was almost kind of waiting for him to like wave or something, just to like even be
Yeah.
more creepy.
Right.
Because, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess if he was curious, then yeah, I could see it. But like at this point, like he's not giving curious vibes. He's giving
Mm-mm.
creepy,
Yep.
like, I am the killer, and I'm just
Right.
waiting for you to like call me out on it.
Right.
So Nyla asks him where he was 2 nights ago, and he questions how she phrased it. And so she's like, oh, I meant were you at Westview 2 nights ago? Something happened.
Mm-hmm.
And he asks what happened. Nyla's like, there was an attack. The suspect almost killed the cop. And so as Glasser's about to leave, he says that he hopes that they find the killer, saying she must feel such a weight, bringing his poor victim's closure, asking if it keeps her up at night because it would for him. And she asks him if he sleeps just fine. And he's just like a baby. Yeah, not creepy at all. And he just
No.
like walks out, and I'm like, okay.
Dumb.
But
Dumb.
then the way that everyone came into the interrogation room, like Nolan comes in,
Yes.
Wesley, I was like, yes, team
Mm-hmm.
is mobilizing.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, it was crazy. So they agree that Glasser gave some creepy vibes. Nyla's math was right. Dearborn's involved, but like Glasser is the dominant personality. But a jury's not gonna see it that way. So
Right.
Angela says Ryan's guilt feels genuine, and she thinks he honestly believes he committed the murders.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I like how Brendan was like, but Glasser could have convinced him. Like if you spent years
Yeah.
feeding him the intel, like he internalized it.
Right.
Because yeah, for him to just be like, I mean, just rolling that confession out. Like I mean, there was no like
Mm-hmm.
slip ups or oh, I don't remember
Mm-mm.
that or anything. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was too easy. It was too
Right.
easy. So Gray says that another abduction won't be risked with Glasser knowing that they're close, but Nyla's like, I don't care. Like, I want all the
Yeah.
details on them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it on the Nyla stuff. I don't know. I'm so like intrigued to see where all of this goes,
Yes. Very.
but I'm also nervous for our girl. So,
Yes.
yeah.
It's gonna be very interesting what
Yeah.
happens for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Just I mean not even with like I mean with all the Nyla stuff and like the job and everything, but like we also know that it's going to affect her personal life too in a way. So,
Yes.
if this completely like obliterates her work life and
Hmm.
her personal, where does she go from here? Like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
We
We'll
shall
see.
see.
So Next, we get into the whole like Bailey and Jason storyline. Yeah. So Bailey is still contemplating calling Malvado, and she's going back to work, and John's like, he's gonna talk to Detroit PD, see if there's any updates on Jason. And Bailey asks him again if she really believes that her psychotic ex is on the run, and he's like, well, we can't be too safe. And so after he leaves, she pulls the number out again, along with a burner phone, and texts him all about it. Like she just pulls the burner phone like out of her bag. Like it's no big deal.
Yes, right.
Like,
I'm like, Bailey, you know better than this.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing
Yeah.
all these things?
yeah.
It's very unlike her, I feel like.
Yeah, it is. And like especially when she knows that the police are on it. Like,
Yeah, your husband is a cop. What are you
yeah.
doing?
I get that she was like freaked out with Malvado.
Mhm.
At the same time, then, like, you should tell the cops that Malvado, like, came to you.
Yeah.
Like, they were just hunting down Malvado.
Right.
So, like, I don't know. It was weird. And it felt like out of character for her, but
Mhm.
also not really, because she does take stuff
Mhm.
into her own hands.
That's true.
But I was also like, this is bigger than you at this point.
Right.
You need to know
Exactly.
that,
Yeah. Yep.
So Bailey's at the hospital with a victim after a call. She meets up with Luna, and she like has to step away to take a call from Alvaro. Like she even pulls out her like real phone
Mhm.
and is like, "Oh, I gotta take this," and then like it's the burner phone. And he wants her to tell him about Detroit, and she's like, "You shouldn't call. You shouldn't be talking to me right now." And he's like,
Mhm.
"You called me. You texted
Yeah.
me. So
Right.
and you picked
Yeah.
up. So I'm like,
Right.
yeah, you can't have it both ways."
Nope.
So she tells him about the fingerprints, and Malvado thinks it's sloppy, could be a fake out, but maybe not.
Mhm.
And so, like later on in the episode, like this episode was a lot of the whole like attack stuff that I actually like sometimes kind of forgot about this. I was like, oh yeah, like
Mhm.
we're supposed to be focusing on this.
Right.
So Detroit PD calls John, and we cut over to Bailey. I did like the cuts, like how John got the call, and then like Bailey got the call, and she was like
Mhm.
run over or hit by the car.
Yeah.
And she answers a call from Malvado, who tells her Jason was never in Detroit. He paid someone to leave the fingerprints at the crime scene, and he's still in LA. Cut to him hitting her with his car, kidnapping her, and her partner comes to her defense, and
Mhm.
Jason like takes him out. So
Yep.
they don't get too far because
Mm-mm.
he forgot to dump her phone.
Mm.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's a rookie move. I think
Right.
that's even a dumber move than like Seth or Miles would have done. I feel
Yeah.
like.
Right. Yeah. I
Like,
was like, what? Why?
yeah. And then he like does it again. I'm like,
Yes.
wait a minute. What are you doing? I get it that you're like frazzled and you're on the run, but like
Right.
that's
Mm-mm.
not a hard thing to do. And also like, well, yes, Bailey did have two phones on her. And she ended up
Yes.
having both of them by the end of the episode again. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah, like she was on the phone with Malvado and she got hit. So like that
Right.
burner phone, miraculously, that's still fine, even though you would figure that got hit. I don't
That's
know.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
But then like her personal phone, which is what John was using to track her.
Right.
So yeah. So Bailey's partner calls 911, IDs Jason. John and Selena are speeding, following her phone's location.
Mhm.
Jason keeps driving and doesn't do anything about the phone. And I'm like, dude, pull over and dump the phone. Like at this point,
Yeah.
you know about it. You know that the cops are on your tail.
Right.
Come on.
Is this like his first time doing anything criminal like this? I'm
He's been,
assuming.
well, he was on parole before, but I don't
That's
think we
right.
knew for
That's
what.
right.
Just domestic stuff.
Right. Right.
He's not a very good criminal,
No.
apparently. I mean,
No.
not that you want there to be a good criminal, but like clearly he's not because he
Mm-mm.
forgot about Bailey's phone and then
Right.
forgets about the girl that he's with, her phone. And
Yes.
the girl's like, how do
Yes.
they know who I am? And Jason's like, it's your phone. I'm like, duh. Like
Duh.
anyone could have said that. I was like, oh my God. Like, I get it that he's freaked out, but I'm
Yeah.
like, if this was a plan, you should have remembered. Like, I
He
don't know. It
didn't.
was weird. It was
Mm-mm.
weird.
he did not think the details out through at
Yeah.
all.
No, but he had zip ties to tie around Bailey's wrist. So,
Apparently, which
yeah.
of course she broke free. Of course
Yeah.
she did.
Yeah. Of
She's
course she
Bailey.
did. And then she bites his arm. And so Malvado's even tracking Bailey's phone, which I know John's tracking it. Like he's got, the police technology. And I guess
Right.
Malvado probably does too. But like, also, I don't know. I feel like probably have to. You don't have to consent to it. I don't think like if it's a police thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like John
Mm-hmm.
could have also been using Find My Friends. Like we don't know. But
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
did Malvado get it? Is the real question.
Mm.
So Jason makes a call to Drew, who's the drunk girl from Nolan's break-in a few episodes ago. Which I saw her name come up on the credits, but I didn't think anything of it
No.
until like we saw her and I was like, oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Right. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so Bailey gets the zip ties free, takes his arm like that he's using to reach back there, and she breaks it. Which I watched the behind the scenes footage
Mm-hmm.
that like Jenna shared,
Yeah.
and it was so cool to like see, that it was like a prosthetic arm and like a whole like kind of vest thing that he
Oh.
put on. So it was like
Okay.
that prosthetic arm in there. And it
That's
was
cool.
cool just to see it and hear it. So
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Hmm.
they get into like an epic car fight scene and end up crashing. Um, Jason gets out of the car and runs with Drew. They don't even have time to check if Bailey's dead. Why? Because he never dumped her phone. And because the cops
Right.
are like right there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Drew tells him to check Bailey because like he'll never live with himself.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he's like, we don't have time. We gotta go. I'm like, okay. He leaves his phone there, which, okay, yeah, that's like criminals have done that.
Right.
But as they're running off, John and Selena pull up and Bailey crawls out of the car. We see Malvado getting out of his car on a roof, though. He's got a
Mm-hmm.
sniper. Like, we don't know where he
Mm-hmm.
is.
Right.
So as Aid's coming, Bailey tells John that Jason left his phone before he ran off, and Brendan takes the phone, traces a phone number and name and shows the picture to Nolan. And Nolan's like, she was at my house
Mm-hmm.
regarding Drew. Um, and so the trace is showing that they're still running and that the team is mobilizing to get them. And so Bailey tells Sean to go, she'll be fine. And Jason and Drew are hiding by a van. And Jason's like, we got to get a car. They can't just hide because they're gonna have the whole place locked down. And he
Right.
sees Drew's phone and throws it. And she's like, why would they know who I am? Like, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to go out and stop this car. I'm gonna come out with a gun and we're gonna jack it. She doesn't get the chance to though because she's shot by Malvado.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so Jason wants to run, but John and Selena pull up and he sees Jason, but Jason says Malvado is there
Yeah.
and is going to take the shot.
Yeah.
Um, and so Malvado takes that as his cue to or Jason then ends up coming out like just an inch. And so
Right.
Malvado takes a shot. And so, like John and Selena call for backup, like there's more cops coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so Malvado takes that as his cue to get out. And they don't see the sniper anywhere. But at this
Mm-hmm.
point, I'm like, well, it's obviously across the street. Like he's not like at the building that they're
Right.
at, like
Yeah. Right.
I mean, yes, there's
That's
many buildings on that street, but you know that it's across the street. Like
right.
it was a
Yeah.
direct shot.
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird.
Yeah. That is very weird.
But Nolan then goes into Bailey's hospital room after bearing gifts and a drink for her. Um, and she's just like, I just want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So Bailey's going home. They got the discharge paperwork and everything. And she's like, I'm going to sleep for a week. And John counters that with, she says she will, but she always picks up 3 new hobbies with her time off, which I relate.
I
But
love it.
yeah, yeah, it was like, yeah, Bailey, maybe you should like sleep. I don't know.
Just a thought.
Yeah, yeah. So she left her jacket in the room, so he goes back to get it and finds her burner phone. And he opens it to see the text messages and calls from Malvado's number,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know. Are we to assume that he immediately knows it's Malvado or not? I feel like we are.
I don't know. You
Because he
don't,
didn't have Malvado's number, I don't think.
right. I don't think, I think he's still kind of wondering about it
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he was like, Bailey, like, what are you doing now?
right.
So I
Yeah,
don't think he knows exactly who it is.
yeah, yeah. So that's where we leave off with all the Bailan and Jason stuff. I guess the whole Jason thing's done, but now we have Malvado to worry about.
Right.
And
It
then
was
possibly
almost,
Oscar? I don't know.
yeah, kind of like they made this whole thing about Jason and then they're like, just kidding. It's actually Malvado.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Well, and I wonder like if Oscar comes back
that too. Yeah.
with the whole Bailey stuff. Like
Maybe.
because he was the last one to really be with Oscar or
Mm.
with Jason. And I
Yeah.
wonder
Right.
like if Jason and Oscar, kind of work together more. I don't
Hmm.
know. It's gonna be interesting to see how, because I'm sure that this isn't just like done and over with. Like the
Yeah.
big threat's gone, but like
Right.
there's more to it. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be intriguing to see how it all turns out for sure.
Hmm.
So
Definitely.
last up we have Chenford and the rookies. It's mostly Lucy and Seth, but like there's some Miles in there too. So
Hmm.
Lucy starts the episode and she's at Seth's high school. And at this point, I was like, Lucy, what are you doing? Because,
Yes.
I thought she was at the academy, not his high school for a minute. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't,
It
like, is she allowed to do that? I guess.
I had the same thought. I was like, I don't
But
see why not, but very weird, but
yeah,
very like
detective-y of her.
yeah, on her
Yeah,
part. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Which I mean, I get why she's doing it. Like,
Yeah.
she is his TO. Like, as much as she's responsible for his safety, he's responsible for hers too. Like, if something
Right.
happens on his watch and it hurts her, like, you
Right.
know.
Absolutely.
But then the guidance counselor was like, okay to just talk to her. I was like, I know that there's like HIPAA for medical
I was gonna
things,
say
but is there something similar for school? Like, I don't know.
maybe.
And so we cut over, like, she just wants clarity on a couple of things, talks to this guidance counselor. We
Hmm.
don't see anything else from that. And I was kind
Right.
of hoping that we do, but
Yeah.
then we cut over to the rookies running. And honestly, I don't know. I thought Seth looked like he was struggling a little bit when he
I
was
thought
doing
so
it.
too.
And I was
Yeah.
kind of like, well, maybe that's the cancer. Like, he's just not
Could
feeling
be.
well.
Yeah.
But then he was like zoning out too.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. Selena's wondering if he's feeling any more secure in the job. Um, and Seth asks Selena if she can put in a good word with her roommate and that
Hmm.
help him, and he'd owe her big time. And I felt weird about all of this because I was like,
Yeah.
Selena's put into the middle. Like,
Right.
yes, she's asked Lucy like how Seth's doing and all that, but like she's been put into the middle now by Seth asking Selena if she can put in a good word. And like whether he
Yes.
was serious about that or not, like he shouldn't. Like that's
Yeah.
not his
Mm-mm.
place. That's not her place to even really do that.
Right.
Um and I feel like Selena is just being like a good friend and like a good, coworker by asking if he
Yeah.
feels any more secure in it. But I was also
Right.
kind of like, yeah, she's almost crossing a line with that. Like
Yeah.
to me it was just like, okay, you not only like have Lucy as a friend and you're close with her, but like you also live
Hmm.
with her.
Right.
So are you guys talking about him like in your off time? Like I don't know, it was just kind of odd to
Yeah.
me. It'd be
Hmm.
one thing if it was Miles asking that or Nolan or something, but I was just kind of like
Yeah.
Lena.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm treading lightly with this Seth guy.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
seems very fishy.
Yeah, yeah. So Miles stops running and he's like, what are the odds that we'll be off work by 8 p.m.? There's got to be some kind of work-life balance. And Selena's like, not as a rookie. She hasn't been on a date in 3 months. And when asked what's at 8, Seth was like, he's got a long distance love with the missus. And when Seth said that, I was like, oh, he's giving little brother energy. like
Oh
right
yeah.
there. It's
Yeah.
little brother, like I'm just
Right.
gonna, pull shit on you. And I was kind of like, I'm here for it. Like, I need
Yes.
more Seth and Miles friendship moments. And
Yeah.
I need to see them grow as rookies
Yeah.
personally and professionally.
Right.
Um, and I just want to see them like as buds, like, because I feel like we
Yeah.
haven't really had a duo rookie team since the beginning. So
Absolutely.
I'd
Yeah.
like to see them as hanging out buds. And Miles says that they're not married, and I'm like, did anyone think you were? Like, this is the first time we've heard
Right.
it. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. And he's like, we've been exclusive since high school, and she's still in Texas, looking for the right time to move out. And Selena's like, and live in your car. And I was
Hmm.
like, well, technically, he lives in the RV.
Yeah. Right. I said
Technically,
that too. I
but
was like, wait a
yeah.
second.
Yeah. But now it's canon that everyone knows that he lived in this car. I mean, I guess it was before
Mhm.
too, but
Yeah.
um so he says that he'll find a place before she moves to LA,
Mhm.
which foreshadowing right there.
Right.
And she got with him when he was gonna make all that football money and then stayed with
Hmm.
him when he got hurt. Like she's been with him through it all and
Hmm.
sacrificed a lot for him. And I'm like, they wouldn't just say that just to say that. Like I feel like
Hmm.
next episode, because we do see some scenes of him and this girlfriend, like kind of
Right.
in a hotel room or something. Like it doesn't look the best.
No, it
So I'm
doesn't.
kind of like, yeah, what is going to happen? Like, is she going to be
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, you're not like where I thought you would be? Or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Um, well, we'll probably get to this part, but when they meet up later, but I got weird vibes from that too.
Oh, yeah, no, his
So,
face said it all. I was like, oh, he
yeah,
wasn't
right.
expecting that. Yeah.
Right. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
something's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of go back to Lucy and Seth, and they're patrolling, and you can just like feel like the awkward tension. He
Yes.
breaks it to her by saying that he was like, I've really been studying the Rook book.
Hmm.
Miles and I are even going to the range later to do some extra shooting. Like he's trying to just he's word vomiting, trying to like
Yeah.
break the awkwardness. And I'm like, I mean,
Hmm.
I do the same thing because like I don't like an awkward silence in like a
That's
meeting for
fair.
work.
Yeah.
And so she tells him that she went to his high school and wants him to tell her what she ended up finding out.
Hmm.
And Lucy, I love her, has
Hmm.
been different this season.
She
Like, I
has.
think some of it is because she's dealing with Seth and like
Yeah.
doesn't know what to believe. But I
Right.
also think because she is a TO, she's had to be a little bit more like tough love with it or
Yeah.
stern in a way. Like, she's not taking anyone's BS, which
Right.
love that for her. Like,
Yeah.
7 seasons in, we've seen her grow a lot. But I feel like
Absolutely.
this temporary TO position has really like helped her grow and
Yeah.
just like her personality has changed in a way. Not in a
Right.
bad way at all. Like I think
No.
she's just more she doesn't take any BS,
Right.
like I
Yeah.
mean even later like when she finds Tim and she's like I've decided like I am, taking him out of the program. Like she
Hmm.
is not like scared of those consequences and she's
Right.
she's
Yeah.
confident in her decision. So,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Hmm.
So he starts telling her everything. Turns out he lied. He lied about everything to make himself look better, which I'm like, okay.
Hmm.
At
Yeah.
times like don't you do that as a person?
I
But it's different
mean,
when you're a cop, you
yes.
know?
Yes.
Like it's
Yeah.
different. It's different.
Which is definitely what Tim brings up in the
Yeah.
whole break room scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just like, but I guess that makes sense because he's done that too. So,
Yeah, yeah. But also like, okay, it's one thing to like lie, say in a job interview or,
right.
like to a friend. Like if you're in trouble and you're like trying to not make it seem that bad. But
Hmm.
like he's lied about big things. Like this girl that
Yeah.
OD'd, the girl that got in the car accident. Like, and you're a cop, you're on a really risky job. Like you can't just lie about stuff.
I wonder how he thought that was gonna fly.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you're with a TO who's been through a lot already. Like,
Yeah.
how did you really think that you could pull like the wool over her eyes? Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and it makes me wonder, like, if he knows that she started her rookie time there. Like, does he know that she's literally been with these same people
Mm-hmm.
for 7 years or whatever it is in the rookie timeline? Like,
Right.
she's been there. Like, if anything, they're on her side more than they are on his. They
Mm-hmm.
are.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, does he know all of that? Like,
Yeah.
Tim stuff aside, like, does he know that, they've seen her through her worst?
Right.
And, if she is unsure about something, they're going to believe her more so than
Mm-hmm.
him. Like, yeah, it does not bode well for him at all.
No. No.
So he says he never met the girl who died in the car accident, which then why are you even like lying about that? Like, you never even met the girl.
Right.
They were in different grades. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is just too much now.
Yeah.
And then he says the girl that OD'd was not his girlfriend, just his friend. Okay, so you flubbed the
Okay.
truth a little bit. And
Right.
he's like, I did go on a date with her a couple months before the party, but it was really her dad who saved her. Okay, it
Okay.
was weird. Like,
Very weird. Yeah.
okay, it was yeah. I'm like, what are we supposed to do with this right now? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. And
Yeah.
even Lucy was just kind of like, okay, where do I go with all this?
Yeah.
And it makes me it makes me wonder what else she found out.
Mm-hmm.
That she was like waiting for him to say,
Mm.
and then he
Mm-hmm.
omitted, and like, she's even more kind of hesitant with him because
Yeah.
that she had to have found out more stuff about
Right.
him
Yeah.
in talking to the guidance counselor.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. And so he offers to tell her why he lied. And he's ashamed in what he did and,
Mm-hmm.
struggled in the past with using these half truths to get him out of
Mm-hmm.
trouble and swore to himself that he wasn't going to be this guy when he joined the LAPD. And I was kind of just waiting for him to like, or for her to like cut him off and be like, dude,
Yes.
stop. Like,
Right.
stop. You're not
Yeah.
helping yourself anymore at this point.
Right.
So he asks her what the consequences are, and she doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
She's kind of in turmoil with that, which,
Yeah.
yeah, I can
It
see
would make
why.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah. I wouldn't know what to do either. Like,
yeah.
and I think this is
Whether you're a new TO or a seasoned one, I think this is
right.
new territory here.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So Lucy finds Tim in the break room and asks her for his advice or asks for his advice.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that she's confirmed that Seth lied to her. Tim tells her that there's a difference between lying on the job and about the job, asking her if he's ever lied on paperwork or anything. And she's like, I don't think so. Lucy, I would be checking that right now. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, if he's lying about just stuff in his personal life, I would be checking every single thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you're not with him 24/7. Like, you are,
Right.
but yeah, you're not. Because like, even if you walk away for a minute, like, he could see something or do
Right.
something.
Mm-hmm.
So he suggests that she corrects it because it's a
Mm-hmm.
TO thing, not
Yeah.
a rookie. I'm like, okay. Again, where do we go from here with this? Like,
Right.
what do we do
Yeah.
with it?
He leaves her
So
very, I don't know, like,
conflicted, I guess.
yeah. And just like, I, mm. And I love it because he's not giving her the answers
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Um, and just trying to find her own way through it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Which is
Which
what
I
good
think is,
teachers do. But
yeah. And I
like,
think
I don't
it's
know.
good for her. Like, I think she
Yes.
kind of likes that because
Right.
she's able to make the decision. But I
Yes.
like how she was like, really? You're Tim, I bounce boots for breakfast?
Yes.
Bradford? And I was like, oh my God, that's a tongue twister.
I wonder how many times they had to do that. Like,
Yeah.
are there
Yeah.
bloopers of that? I want to see it.
Oh my God, I hope so because I can see them laughing through it. And then
Right.
I can see her like messing it up. And it's like a
Mm-hmm.
blooper reel of them just saying the F word like multiple times. So, yeah,
He's
yeah,
so good. Yep.
yeah. So, Ridley walks in then, and he's like, I love my job. I've never lied about it. I just get panicked sometimes and get stressed. And Lucy says it's always stressful. She kind of like gets snappy with him a little bit. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's always stressful, but what are you going to do up on the stand when are you going to tell the truth or
Mm-hmm.
whatever makes you look good?
Yeah.
And now that makes me want a scene of them like in court, having to like testify.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Right.
like, I see it on SVU and sometimes on
Mm-hmm.
like Chicago PD or whatever. Like, can
Right.
we get that for the rookie? Because
Yeah.
Wesley cross-examining them would be
Mm.
great. I
That would
would
be
love to see
great.
it. So,
Love it.
yeah. So Seth says that it's been an important wake-up call for him and he's gonna fly right from here on out. And I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it, dude.
I
Like,
was gonna say,
yeah.
I really don't trust anything that comes out of this guy's mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nope.
Yeah. Yeah. So, um, so then at the end, oh my God, my outline's weird. So at the end, Miles and Selena are walking out together and he missed his Zoom date with his girlfriend Camilla.
Mhm.
But it's okay because she gets it. I'm like, does she? And Miles tells her that life in Texas was going to be very different, but he's
Mhm.
changed a lot since he's been there, or since he's been here in LA.
Mhm.
And so before he gets into the elevator, she FaceTimes him, surprises him by being at the station, and she's like, I couldn't wait. I quit my job and I'm moving to LA.
Mhm.
His face says it all. Like,
Yeah,
yikes.
it does. Yeah. It makes me wonder if she doesn't know that he's homeless.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
Um,
mean
yeah.
he wouldn't have to like he could hide that easily.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
yeah.
And if
Yeah.
she just quit her job, like how are they going to pay for anything, you
Right.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't well, and it was kind of giving like the whole Rachel thing again. Like
Mhm.
granted, she didn't ghost him, but she's like, I quit my job, I'm moving to LA. Like, you're not gonna talk about this with him?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what if he doesn't stay in LA because he gets bounced or,
Yeah.
doesn't like it? Like,
They're going to have to start all over. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So as Chenford's walking out, Lucy tells him that she's been thinking about the Seth situation. And
Mhm.
she's like, I'm the TO, I'm making the decision, he can't stay. So they're gonna go talk to Gray about it. Tim's not even like swaying her decision. He's like, it's yours to make, which
I
shows
love this.
growth, shows
Mhm.
growth big time for them because
Yeah.
if this was a season or two ago, he would be like talking her out of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so as they're going to talk to Gray, Seth and him are walking out of the office. This to me was like Seth knew that he was in trouble and he was looking to get ahead of it.
Ooh. Ooh,
Like,
Jennifer. That's
like
a good
when you get in
idea.
trouble at work and you're like, I feel
Yeah.
like I'm getting fired. And you're like, well, let
Yeah.
me find out ways to like fix this. And
Right.
then, like someone one ups you and goes forward. I'm like, yeah, this is, I don't know. Like, this is not good.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Lucy looked so thrown off by it.
She did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
kind of interested, like, obviously she didn't like she was like, oh yeah, like cancer, that's awful. But like
Yeah.
Lucy, like tell Gray.
Right. Like, tell Gray something.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Tim's just going with it anyway. Like
yeah. Oh my God.
somebody interrupt this.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Seth like tells them that he got his results back and the cancer's back, which is sad. Like,
It is. Absolutely.
and the doctor says that he should still be able to work, which I'm
Mhm.
like, okay,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
But also like how much? Because
Right. Are you
you
gonna
you
get
were running
chemo?
earlier and you didn't look very good.
No.
So I
No.
don't know.
Right.
Like I just don't want him to put Lucy's life in danger. Like, even though it already is because of the job, like,
Right.
that's more of a risk.
Yeah.
So he wanted to let Lucy know that he's ready, willing, and able to complete his training if she'll still have him. If I was Gray and I heard him say if she'll still have him, I would be questioning that. Like,
Yeah.
what do
Very
you
weird way to
mean?
word all that. Yeah.
But Gray does know that like Seth and Lucy maybe aren't doing so well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to know if Seth told Gray everything. Like I lied, I got
Mm-hmm.
my test results back, like, I'm here, but also like I know that I've screwed up. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And so like I caught this on my second rewatch, but Tim's look to Lucy when Seth's like, I'm ready, willing to work, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Tim's like, do you believe a word of this? And I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
I don't, because
No.
if he's lied
Mm-mm.
about everything else before, like basically his entire time on the job so far has been a fucking lie.
Yeah, it
Like,
has. Yeah.
and
I
this
mm-mm.
cancer thing could even be a lie. Like, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Very,
mean, as
very
far as I'm
interesting.
concerned, like we haven't even seen his home life. Like,
That's
does
true.
he have brother? Does he has a roommate, but like who? Like that
Yeah.
to me is suspicious too. I need to see that. Maybe we
Mm.
will, dealing with all this cancer stuff,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lucy can't bounce him now
Mm-hmm.
because he's got, I mean, that would be a really bad thing, bad thing if she did. So yeah, he's staying around. I mean, we knew
Mm.
that he was because at some point he works with Nolan, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. This is going to be weird. I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how it plays out though, because
Yes.
I think it'll be good to have like a little conflict between the rookie and TO.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like we haven't really had that, but I'm also just
Right.
kind of like, if you put her life in danger more than it already is because of the job,
You are
this
dead.
is not going to be good.
No.
Especially just because, I mean, cancer can have bad side effects with the chemo and stuff. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, even if you're working a desk job, it can have that. So,
Right.
I mean, you have a service weapon on you and you're tasked with keeping the city of LA safe.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be on your A game. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Mm-mm.
something. But
Mm-mm. I don't like
yeah.
it.
So, we do have one listener thought from Becky. She said, I may be in the minority here, but I really need Chenford to speed it up a little bit. We got such a great scene last week at Tim's house, and I
Ooh.
thought we would build on that last night.
Mhm. I loved that scene. I was like,
Yeah, it was
yay,
good.
Chenford.
It
And
was
then she
good.
was like, nah. And I was like, no. I
Yeah,
was like, yes, girl power, but no.
yeah. But also, like, I get it. Like,
Yes.
she wants to hold her boundaries, but then when
Yeah.
she went to go leave and Kojo came, I was like, oh, we just want you to
Uh,
stay.
just stay.
Please just
Please.
stay.
Just
Please.
stay for
Please.
everybody involved.
Yes. Yes. Um, but then seeing the promo for next week, because that's the hotel scene,
Hmm.
and we hear Tim say she always looks good or whatever. Boundaries are going to be crossed. Lines are going to be crossed. I feel it. I feel it because she's going to say no, we shouldn't, and he's going to like inch closer, and then they're going to do things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably not going to be good, but also like just get back together. Like you want to.
Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tweeted after the promo the other night. It was like when she said we shouldn't. I was like, no, but you want to, so just do
Right.
it. Like just
Yeah.
get back together.
I think
So
that would be interesting though, because we've brought up just like the rookies don't know their past. Um,
yeah.
and so like if they did get back together, are they hiding it at work? I
Yeah.
guess so. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, but
But
I
then
still think
Selena would essentially know, unless they're
ex-
even hiding it from Selena.
right. Right.
Because I feel like Selena, like I love her, but I feel like she's a blabbermouth.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, the rookies may even know. Like she could have
It's
blabbed
true.
it to them on that run and been like, you do realize that your TOs once stated. Like,
I
I
think we
don't
would have
know.
seen it.
Yeah, I feel like we would have seen it just for like the pure reaction.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I also could see her like just blabbing it out or, just, I mean, not really being a secret, like, because everything goes around that station. But
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it's been brought up somewhere or like there were fan theories about them like being back together, but just like sneaking around at the station.
Yeah.
So, well, and I could see like Lucy, being like, oh, I'm just gonna stay, out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really know where she could say she would go because
Right.
Rachel is her friend in LA, and like she could easily just be like, I'm staying at Rachel's, but like,
Mm-hmm.
where are you gonna go? Like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Becky also said, I did, however, like their scenes together on Tuesday showed that they still very much trust and value each other's opinions. I was just hoping for a big reveal kind of scene where it explains why Lucy is wearing the necklace next week.
Oh.
Everyone talks about the necklace, and I don't know, I guess I must just not pay good attention to
I
it.
was just
I'm
gonna say,
like,
tell me more about this necklace.
he gave it to her
That's
many
right.
seasons ago,
Oh, I forgot
and
about
she
that.
doesn't wear it like all the time. Same with
Mm-hmm.
like the moonstone ring.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
like don't really pay attention to it though. Like fake
Mm-hmm.
fan, I know, but I don't know.
Nah.
She was wearing it when like she was talking to Tim, like
Okay.
before the shift or whatever, or after the shift and before. But
Interesting.
I don't know. I think it's just a piece of jewelry that she likes wearing. Like I don't
Mm.
put any type of connection behind that.
I think what Becky's saying is kind of right, but like,
Yeah.
because I think that's just like another way to show like, yeah, these characters still really care about each other, but
Yeah.
they're still kind of on thin ice a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And I do like how Tim is just being so like sweet to her. There's no
Hmm.
Tim tests, there's
Yeah.
no bullshit. Like, she knows all of his tricks. So
Yeah.
he's like, I'm just gonna lay my weapon down. Like,
Yeah.
you win.
Yeah. And I mean, even if like he is trying to kind of like trick her a little bit or test her, like it's
Mm-hmm.
not blatantly, like a Tim test. Like it's kind of just like,
Yeah.
just gonna let you figure it out. Like I'm not gonna like
Right.
pressure you into it. I'm not gonna like, put my opinion on it. I'm just gonna
Right.
kind of, let you write this out.
Yeah.
Because I think he trusts her in the job. Like he knows
Yeah.
that whatever she
Right.
decides and whatever conclusion she comes to,
Mm-hmm.
like it will all work out for her. So I feel
Right.
like he's well aware of like her capabilities. So I
Yeah. Her
think he
strengths. Yeah.
doesn't have to like
Mm-hmm.
worry about it as much.
Mm-mm.
So
No.
yeah. I don't
They've
know.
been
It'll
through a lot.
knowing all of this now with Seth and like the cancer and stuff, I I hope that this is brought up a little bit more next week, but I think that
Mm-hmm.
this will be kind of like a running thing for Chenford. Like they'll be
Mm-hmm.
talking about Seth and like what to do with him and
Yeah.
all that. And it could have bothered him because it's like, why are we talking about this kid so much?
Yeah.
But I think also like he realizes that he needs to be there for Lucy
Yeah.
and, this is his way to be there is to
Right.
talk about this with her and
Right.
to be able to, kind of work through it with her. Like she's
Right.
someone who has to verbally work through things,
Yeah.
whereas he's not. Like he doesn't
Right.
sit there and talk about everything that's going on. So I think,
Right.
he's and that's part of his learning too, is like he's having to
Mm-hmm.
like really learn how to kind of navigate that side of it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And he wants to be like back in her good graces. Like
Yeah.
he's not pushing any buttons. Like
Yeah. 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 So I don't know. I'm curious to see when we will see the work for Tim Star. I wonder if that'll come after next week because his
Mhm.
sister's back. And we know that his sister is back for a few episodes. So
Ooh.
yeah. So I don't know. I
Mm,
guess we'll see. Because there's
we'll
promo
see.
photos of them like at his house
Okay.
where
Yeah.
yeah. And like she's got donuts and stuff, and it looks like they're talking. So I'm
Mhm.
curious to see. And she's at the gala. So like I wonder how she's
Hmm.
there. It's a
Hmm.
charity, so maybe she works with the charity and that's what brought her back,
Maybe. Yeah.
probably. So
Interesting.
yeah,
We'll
but
see.
that's kind of it for this episode. I mean, unless
Yeah.
you had any other thoughts.
Nah.
Um, yeah, so you can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _ or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstark804 and Carrie's at Carrie Hyman. And then we're on TikTok as well, the Shop Talk Podcast _ on Blue Sky, the Shop Talk Pod .bsky. Kristen, where can we find you on social media?
So I'm not cool like everybody else, and I don't have a TikTok or or Twitter or anything like that. But I've
Yeah.
got Instagram, So I'm KL Hyatt 13.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining me. This was so much fun to talk about The Rookie with you.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
Yeah, I feel like, this was such a good episode. We haven't really talked about The Rookie, so to be able to talk about this like you and I has been
Yeah.
really fun because I know you and Carrie have talked about The Rookie and like she
Oh, yeah.
got you caught up and all that. So
Yep.
yeah.
Carrie and I
Thank you
go
so
way
much.
back.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Yeah, it's been fun to have you on and hopefully it can happen again soon. So yeah.
Absolutely. I'd love it.
Yeah. Until then, bye everyone.
Bye.
Go get him, boo.